Rehab is a new series dedicated to the metal restoration process that transforms articles destined for the scrapyard into amazing, better than new pieces of work. Watch now as masters of the iron strip, blast, weld, and powder coat these worn out items, and then follow us as we actually take you behind the scenes and onto the racetracks, car and motorcycle shows, and maybe even into your own backyard as we show off the chosen rehab projects. So hang on to your seats and enjoy the ride. On this episode of Metal Rehab, we will take you through the restoration process of a ridden, hard, and worn out Harley Davidson. The journey begins at Aesthetic Finishers for strip and powder coating, onto the Cycle Shack for assembly, and then to its reveal at the 2008 Easy Riders Motorcycle Show. It's going to be one tire-smoking experience.
Well, Jim, how are you?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Are you at the right place?
This place is huge. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, most people think it's some little mom and pop shop with a bucket of water and a hair dryer to powder coat with, but we're really an 80,000 square foot facility. But are you sure you're at the right place?
Oh, yeah.
Want it dead or alive. So is it this bad that you think that we can bring it back to life?
Well, that's what you said.
All righty.
We'll find out.
Let's see what we got.
Looks like Jim has brought us parts from several different motorcycles that have seen better days. AFI's task will be to strip and powder coat all of these parts to be then reassembled into one bad show bike. To eliminate the possibility of losing any customer's parts, AFI has developed a receiving and tracking process that prevents this from happening. All of the parts are first laid out and photographed, then a control router is created that will follow your parts throughout the stripping and coating process. Next step is color selection.
Well, did we find a color?
Yep, sure did.
Fire dormant red and yeah, silver metallic. Looks good. Well, Jim, we appreciate you giving us this opportunity to show us what we can do.
Yeah, thank you.
I guarantee you won't be disappointed. And we'll probably see you in what, a couple weeks for some of the assembly.
Okay.
That'll be good. Now that the parts have been properly checked in so that we won't lose them, I have Greg Gubo here, Motorsports Manager, and Jim Kirtley, Plant Manager of Aesthetic Finishers, that will be loading the burn-off oven as I talk about what we're doing here. The nice thing about thermal stripping is that we only bake at 800 degrees for approximately 4 hours. As we're baking it, it's going to remove all the paint, all the powder coating, and any other impurities that might have come in contact with the metal, including Bondo, silica oils, and just general oils in common. As it's baking, it's removing all that so that we don't have any of the oil bleed out that you will see with the powder coating process if you do not thermal strip. A lot of people try to skip this process and go right into a blast process, and what they don't realize is that those oils are still entrapped in the metal and in the joint areas, and it will bleed out when you do powder coat. The other thing most people don't understand is that as we thermal strip, we're taking away a lot of the blasting requirements later with the thermal stripping process, meaning we don't have to blast as hard to remove the paint. That also allows us to do parts without warping them. A lot of people complain about sandblasters, that when they do blast their parts, they get them back there warped and distorted. With our process, you will not have that problem, and in the last 10 years of doing this, I've never had an issue with that. Having let the parts bake overnight at 800 degrees for 4 hours, all the contaminants, including the paint, should be now in ash. Sanchez is gonna get the tow motor and we'll pull it out and we'll see how good of a job it really did do. Wow, it looks like it's done a really good job. As you can see, the paint is now turned to an ash, and you can actually even see the pinstriping that was on there originally. Now this is what's so neat about thermal stripping something. Once it's turned to an ash with just simple Scotch-Brite, I can just basically wipe all the old paint residue off. So if we had a really delicate part that we didn't want to blast at all, basically this would suffice for a prep for most powder coatings or even wet paints for that matter.
Once the parts have been thermal stripped, we will lightly glass bead them to remove all the ash residue and any rust. AFI uses glass bead instead of sand because most sand contains silica that will embed itself in the metal and then outgas as the powder is cured, leaving tiny pinholes through the powder that will cause the powder coat to fail out in the field, resulting in a very unhappy customer. And no one likes an unhappy customer. Once the parts are glass beaded, they will be inspected for scratches. Any scratches that are found will then be sanded out to provide a very smooth surface for coating.
Now that the parts have been properly blasted and sanded, let's head on over to the wash bay and get them a really good pre-treatment.
To achieve all the benefits of powder coating, it is very important to apply a chemical pre-treatment to the parts prior to coating. Aesthetics uses an iron phosphate pre-treatment that is being applied by tech Rob Kittle through a metered spray wand that delivers a perfect concentration of phosphate that will ensure excellent powder paint adhesion.
All right, now that the parts have been properly blasted, the next step in this process is masking off areas that we cannot have powder paint. That's what Greg Gubo here is demonstrating with the high temperature polyester tape that will actually mask off those surfaces so that the paint won't adhere to it. As you know, powder coating cures at about 375 degrees, so we can't use the common masking tape. So we do use the high temperature polyester tape that will allow it to go through the ovens without melting, thus giving a really nice masked off area for gasket seals, bearing races and such where you have a really tight tolerance and fit. All right, Greg, good job on the masking. Now let's take this thing on over to the paint booth and put some color on it.